Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
My name is Terry Lynch. I'm with Anibals. I found myself searching for a passageway. And that passageway led across sections, which I'm seeing in front of me. I'm talking about it. I want to shoot that. The type of things flying across research. I located a couple sitting on top of the cage. She's out.
The middle. Cascade guides. Alleged production. In conjunction with Alien Strand Films.
Came the tall grey. His skin was looking like a tall grey with very face and weak head, but his skin was light brown. Do you know I do now. I definitely do now. I do now because I've seen that. So I
I'm just skeptical about the abduction part of the story. To that extent, it wasn't like a visceral reality experience. It wasn't like a true memory. And that's what I had trouble with years and years. Certainly, I shared the experience with the rest of the guys, and they might take that as remembering a real experience. But it's not. The encounter is real. I know that.
Tyler Trans, Dockside Media. You're listening to Alien Strand Podcast. Donald Ledesma. Dopest paranormal documentaries inside the Milky Way. Visit DockSideMedia.com. Links to all our major streaming platforms. Until next time, keep on keeping on.
Hi, everybody. And welcome to another episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Don Ledesma. And welcome to today's show. It's going to be a really good one today. Why? Because I have a special guest. His name is Anibal Caballero. And we're going to be talking about alien abductions, UFOs, and everything that kind of coincides all together. But mainly our main topic today is going to be about alien abductions. But before we get going, I'd like to welcome everybody to Alien Strand Podcast. 28 platforms. You can catch us on Instagram, YouTube, alienstrand.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and then everywhere in between. So just don't worry, we're out there. Just type in Alien Strand, okay, on any of your search, on any of your podcast platforms, and you'll come up there and you'll see all of our podcasts. We are on number 79, and that's what we are doing today. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can go there at Don Leds or at Alien Strand. You can follow us there, and you know what? I'll be glad to bring you guys on. You know, I'm a funny guy. I like to put a lot of funny stuff on there, and plus the seriousness of it as well. So, you know, it's just one of those things that I like to do. And, you know, today's podcast is real important. Real important. It's because, you know, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't talk about. And what I talked about with Mr. Anibal earlier was that, you know, that today we're going to kind of be the voice of the voiceless, right? Because, you know, a lot of people go through these abductions, right? They go through these traumatic episodes sometimes, and they keep these things to themselves, right? And a lot of times they just don't want to be out there, or they don't want to be seen sometimes, and they end up venting to other folks like ourselves, like myself and Mr. Anibal and other ufologists that are out there. You know, I consider him a 100% true ufologist, because not just because he does that for other folks. He's a very good human being as well, but you know, he helps you as far as your UFOs, anything that you find up in the sky. You know, you send it to him, he will actually analyze them as well for you. You know, he'll put them in a different spectrum for you, so you can see things that we don't see with the naked eye. And he's the master. I'm telling you, man, he's the master. He's the one that helps me when I first started out a few years ago. I just didn't know anything about it, right? So, you know, I found Anibal, and you know, they had a great group with Jody Gordon, and you know, they started helping a bunch of folks, you know, and he just kept going, and you know, and all he wanted to do was help folks. And I'm glad he did that, you know, for people out there that really need that, you know, encouragement in the ufology section, right? And ufology, I don't know if you got to catch our last podcast, well, actually number 77 with Mr. Terry Lynch, my favorite guy too. You know, he talked about ufology, and he talked about how you don't have to go to school for this. You know, there's not no university, there's no class. You are the university, you are the knowledge. And these people out here that help us all, like Anibal, you know, Shauna, Jody Gordon, you know, Terry Lynch, all these people out there, they all help us into finding the real answers and what they're seeing out there, and you know, and what they're experiencing as well. You know, we're going to have that documentary coming out. We're going to be shooting it real soon. You know, it's coming close, getting closer and closer. It's called The Middle. You heard the commercial at the very beginning. And, you know, we are getting that out there. Now, if you want to be a contributor to it, you know, you want to be an executive producer, we do have that spot open for you. And we're talking, you know, producer, you know, executive. And, you know, there is we do have just go to alienstrand.com there. If you want to donate a couple of bucks, it'll help out to help make this documentary. You know, documentaries are very expensive to make. You know, you're talking $50,000, you know, more and above. You know, but we do this, you know, out of our own hearts to try to get the information out to you. Speaking of documentaries, I was just recently one with Fox. I don't know if you saw it. It's called Roswell at 75. So Alien Abductions, UFOs, and Roswell at 75. It's on Tubi TV, and it's free. Okay, so I had a wonderful experience. Had some nice cameos there, and you know, I'm just glad that I was a part of that documentary, and it's very well done, okay? It talks about Roswell from the very beginning to what we are today. So please go check that out. It's on Tubi TV, and it's free. Can be free, man. So go check that out, okay? Give me a shout out if you want to for being on the show. Hey, right. Okay, so, but I just want to get everybody ready, because today we're going to talk to Mr. Anibal Caballero. Very, very, very nice person and a very good friend of mine. So we're going to get him on the show, because I've already been flapping way too much. But, of course, you can catch us streaming right now on Facebook Live. Yes. You can catch us on YouTube Live. Yeah. And now we're on Twitch. So you can check us out there as well, live. And we're also on Spreaker.com. So if you just want to hear the podcast, there you go. And if you miss it today, it's okay. Just go back to YouTube, Twitch, or I believe Facebook will still keep it up there for a little bit. You can go back and check out these podcasts as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get Mr. Anibal Caballero up on the screen now. There he is.
Hi there.
Hey, sir, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being on the show today. You know, I just gave you a nice introduction because people needed to know who you are and what you're about. And you know, from the very beginning, since 2019, since I started Alien Strand, you know, I was just trying to get the information out there. And I was trying to understand what I was seeing, too, as well. But you did help me out, right? You helped me out as far as seeing this in a different visual aspect, as far as these crafts, UFOs. So if nobody heard that podcast, kind of give a brush up on who Anibal Caballero is and where did this all start for you?
Well, I am just one of many. Simple. For me, it started back in the 1960s. My first sighting, which I think I was about 14 years old. And the way it happened, I just thought it was a star. Mm-hmm. I thought, you know, stationary. I looked at it, and then it started coming towards where I was. And it ended up being about in front of my house, pure saucer, spinning around, and just there, just steady.
Wow.
So I was amazed. At that point, I called my older brother, and as soon as I called my brother, it just
took off,
vanished. But after that, you know, I've been seeing things after that, years to pass and everything else, and I didn't give it too much of a thought until 2015. When I came here to Pueblo, and I started to seeing things, you know, this guy's here and there is like, why am I seeing this? And every time I try to tell my wife, hey, did you see this? It would just vanish. And she just say, well, yeah, just your imagination or your eyes or whatever.
Right.
So, okay, well, fine. Then back in 2018 is when everything changed. They started showing up here almost every day, all kinds, you know, of UFOs.
Right.
And the thing about that is, before they even show up, I already knew they're going to be out there.
Wow.
It's like they let you know ahead of time. Somehow, go out there, we out there. And that happened for so many times. And at that point, my wife still didn't believe it, but she wasn't seeing it.
Right.
Until one time, actually, we had I would say hundreds of fleets of UFOs, all green, all coming from the backyard, from the reservoir, coming towards us. And from that point, we're thinking, well, everybody should have been able to see this because there's so many.
Right.
But what they did, they came towards us to the house, and they split up in all kinds of directions. Never passed over the house. I called Facebook. Checked on Facebook, checked the news, and everything else.
Right.
Nobody saw it.
Of course. Wow. I mean, I'm sure that blew you away just to see that, just what you guys saw, you know, at that moment, because we've seen these things, we've seen videos of these crafts up in the sky, and then sometimes you see them and then they're gone within a split second, you know, of a blink of an eye, like they say. And it's almost, in a sense, like too good to be true in order to see it, you know what I mean? And in your mind's trying to figure out what you are seeing, right? What you're trying to figure out, you know, what you just saw. And then after that, so what happened after that to get you open up?
Well, before I go after that, I'm going to let you know that same day I had my camera. I was recording it.
Nice.
And it showed record.
Right.
When I went to check, it was blank.
What?
Totally blank.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, was it close to you you know, how close was this craft in distance?
Hundreds are just over the house. Close enough that we could see it. I mean, with the naked eye. So I said, I want to get a close-up of it.
Right. Nothing.
Blank.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that EMF on there, the electronic magnetic field, was, you know, you see that all the time. People always show these videos, and all of a sudden it cuts out. And then a lot of people say, man, why is it cut out so fast, so early? You know, and I've seen those. It's because there's some this is me personally thinking, there's some that at a further distance, like way kind of far, but you could still see them. It's like the EMF is not enough to get into your camera or your cell phone or a card or anything like that to wipe it out. A lot of times the battery gets drained in an instant, right? And we see that all the time. In other words, the closer they are, it's like putting a magnet on an old cassette. right? You're going to wipe it out. That's basically what's happening, in that sense. So, and then from there on, how did?
So,
go ahead.
How did I came up to where I'm at now?
Right.
Like I said, I have so many spacecraft coming by here, which I feel most of that I could. But the one, and this might sound not right, but somehow let me know what to do.
Okay.
They show me I didn't know about it. I didn't even understand what they're telling me. So they tell me this is the equipment you need to use. This is what you're going to use it for, and this is what you should be looking for.
Right.
And follow through, and I learned a lot from that.
Well, but you know what? I remember, because we talked about it the last podcast a couple years ago, but I remember seeing a video of yours where there's this craft and it's coming down. It's in the afternoon, and you could see it like at a distance. It's not that far away, but you could see it coming down like close to your area, your home. And I'm like, wow, that was an awesome capture, of something like that. And a lot of people, they just kind of just don't understand what they're seeing at the time. You know what I mean? I'm glad you were able to capture that. You know what I mean? And then because you caught it in real time, it's not like it was a photo or anything like that. It was in actual real time. And what you're pretty much trying to say here is that you don't know how these things come to you, as far as like, okay, I'm going to go outside right now. I'm going to take my camera out, and I'm going to just shoot some photos or video, and all of a sudden you see a craft or something up close. So you're trying to figure out how is it that possibly these extraterrestrials possibly are communicating, right? Pretty much, in a sense.
That's exactly what is happening, actually.
Okay.
Exactly what's happening. It's not just the first time; it's other things. Somehow, it works out that way.
Right. We see it. I had another guest on, and she's Shauna. Remember Shauna Gilmer? She was on there, and she witnesses these things even today, even after she moved. Right, she moved, and still she's seen these crafts. Of course, today I'm on a group with you guys, and I'm watching the footage that she had, and then you analyzed it. It's just one of those things that Why is this happening to people? In other words, what I'm trying to ask you. Why do you think?
That's a very good question. I've been asking that myself. Everybody asks me the same reason. We don't know. We know it's been happening for the longest time. Of course, in the past, they call people like us crazy, and still on these days they still do that. We have no idea why, but we know that it is.
And that's just the thing that people don't understand. Like, is it like, I don't want, how do you say, like, is it like I'm not gonna say divine intervention, but it's something like they communicate with you in a different kind of realm sense, to where that they're going to be there. They're going to show themselves only to you. I always talk about that man in Switzerland. He said that they never showed themselves to anybody else. Only he could see these crafts in the sky, and so he was the only one that was actually Billy Meyer. He was the only one actually taking these photos and these videos of these crafts that were in the sky. Right, call them Palladians. And so, in that sense, do you think that possibly when you were taking video or seeing these things, do you think someone else can see these things at the same time as you, or how does that work for you?
It's a very good question, because I say, how can they miss it? It's so big, it's right there,
right?
And so many times, and at times, when you see like the big giant three lights like a triangle passing by, everybody sees those,
right.
But these, to me, like only certain people get to see them, which is odd for me.
Do you? Let me ask you this, and this might be a little personal, but do you think that maybe in a possible situation that you have possibly been abducted? Do you think maybe?
I have a lot of missing years, and I'm pretty sure I was. Let's think about it to understand it, but yes, I'm pretty sure.
Right, and you were in the military, in the Army, right? A long time ago,
Yeah.
and thank you for your service. And it's just one of those things that, these things happen to people that have a life, a certain lifestyle, and it changes you, right? It changes you to once you see these things, right? Or you see one up close, or you actually experience it, that it makes you into this different person, to where it's like, man, I need to find out where this thing is coming from. Who is it, or what is it, right? So it's like you go kind of crazy in a sense. Not crazy, but you want to find out the truth, right? And that's what you're doing, right? Correct?
Yes. I mean, yeah, once it's like people say, once you see it, it's over. You just no turning back. You just got to go forward. Right. You got all these questions in your mind. You want to know, why are you seeing this? Why is it that I see this? And what's the mission? Why am I getting these messages? And how are they connecting to me? Why should I know this? So, right. All these questions. So you start doing research. You just can't stop doing research until you get some answers.
Right. And when I posted that I was on that documentary, right, I had a few people on there, and one of them asked me, well, have you actually seen a UFO? And I was like, well, yeah. Well, have you seen it? Have you seen an alien? And I was like, not personally, no, but it was like kind of like picking my brain in a sense, just to see your character, where you're at, and I was like, okay, where are you getting at? It's like, he just wanted to know if I'm doing this, this research as like you are, the same way, and what got my brain intrigued in it was when I was 14 and I saw that UFO hovering over the moon, right? And I could see it with my bare eyes. And that's, at 14, you can see anything, you know what I mean? Now, as we get older, we got to wear glasses, yada, how it goes. But I saw this thing, and it just drove me nuts, because and then there I was at the school library when people used to go to the library and look in the encyclopedias, and I started looking through UFOs, right? And there it went. And that was my trigger, right? That's what got me going. Am I crazy? Hell no, I'm not. I'm just like you. I'm a normal human being. And, I just want people to know that just because we do this kind of work, and it's basically disclosure in a sense, but we want to have people to have an open mind as well. Because if you didn't have an open mind, you would not be watching this podcast. You wouldn't be going to these UFO researcher groups and things like that, right? So, and I know you have two groups. You have one called, abductions and experiences, right? So that's one of your groups that you have on there. So if anybody's interested, you can find Anibal there. And he's got a private one, but on that private one, he will actually invite you to that. And that's a very close and up personal discussions. So, and that's for him to pass on to you. But and that one is called Abductions and Experiences. It's a group on Facebook. Now, so when people go through these experiences, right, what is the starting age that you think that a lot of these folks kind of start at, where it hits them?
Well, from all the contact that I've been having, which is a lot of contacts, and my research has done the same thing. Some have started from age 2. Some have told me being babies, like month, and still remember that. Right. Most of them started at a very early age, as either a child or teenager.
Wow.
And even if, like I said, a few have been telling me from being a baby. I can't say anything about it, what they tell me on that one, but I believe so. Right.
And the reason you're getting this information, because like I said, you have these private groups, people do talk to you. And, it's like I told you guys earlier that we're being the voice for the voiceless right now, because there's some folks that just can't say it. You know what I mean? And, we're not going to give out no names and stuff like that. But, how do you explain the gifts that some people get after seeing experiencing a UFO or an extraterrestrial up close? How do you explain like the knowledge that they automatically get? That it's like a zap. Your mind opens up. How do you think that happens?
How it happens, I'm going to say it this way. Somehow, I can't say the implant or send message or whatever, but somehow on the visitations, something is happening on the contact between the person and the alien. And on some people, actually, so far by everybody that I know, they leave what we call a gift. Some can see more than others.
And so when they receive this gift, do you think people, they're treated a little differently because of that?
They treated people we are treated differently no matter what it is, because it's the subject itself. But when they try to explain, or we try to explain what we see, and others cannot see it, which is it's understandable, and you know what you're looking for. Because even myself, some other ones that show me what they see, and I could only see it when I checked it out the other way, my other way.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, it is there, but on the normal vision, I can't see it. So how they give it to us, I don't know, but they do. And anybody that's listening and has been through it, you have something there.
And I believe it. You get some kind of like I don't know, how do I say it? It's like your aura of yourself, kind of your mind opens up, your aura gets bigger, and then your mind kind of expands a little bit more, in a sense, to where you're able to pick up a lot of things that we're not able to see on a normal basis. Is when you get up close with an extraterrestrial, right, or a craft, in a sense. Now, it's usually when they go through it. So through the following years, does it follow you, or does it kind of go away?
Well, the way it started after childhood, they get visited. Some get visited, being like a very friendly,
right?
To get the child to correspond with it. Some go on the negative side, not friendly. They get bad experiences.
Right.
But after the year passes, they start to follow. And when I say follow, it's not like they follow a person following you. You tend to see them in the skies. And it doesn't really matter where you move, because you can move from one state to another country, but they are going to be out there. And these people will show me the same thing with actually, right there they are.
Yeah, and I've talked about alien abductions before. I had a couple of podcasts in the past, and I always talk about this because, a lot of times, let's say your parents, grandparents, the great grandparents maybe got abducted. They like your DNA, something like that. Now, do you think that it's a possibility that they probably are doing some kind of DNA extraction when they do abductions, like people that are coherent? There have been people that have been abducted have actually been coherent. In other words, wide awake when these things are happening, not just not in that paralyzed state. You know what I mean? So, do you think they're doing that to kind of keep up with you, or keep up with the bloodline?
Well, for what I see and seen, and even myself, when they visit, they don't just visit and take you out. Some people stay awake, some people are not, but they leave marks on you.
Right.
And those marks, or those scratches, or the holes, or whatever, they're taking something and also putting something at the same time.
Right. Like an implant, in a sense.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that all the time, and they giving those, they call scoop marks, I guess now that's what they call them. That they're kind of like little nudges in your skin. There's actually like triangular shapes and people that have had abductions. That woman in Australia, when she got abducted, they all had it all around their navel area, and they think that their eggs got extracted, and it's hard for people to understand what's happening. You know what I mean? Especially when it's happening. I don't understand. I'm trying to understand it myself. And I've been, like I said, researching this over and over and over. And all the stories are not exactly the same. They might sound the same. They might seem the same, but they're all kind of different. You know what I mean? Sometimes things happen during the day. Sometimes things happen during the night, or, at any time, when or they're alone, or they're with numerous people, these abductions. Now when have you ever experienced the memory? Of course, we talked about that. You did experience the memory loss, right?
How long was Neil Armstrong actually on the moon? When did Europe start speaking English? Did Marco Polo really go to China? CuriosityStream is the streaming service for all things history, plus science, wildlife, and more. What's the real story behind the Mona Lisa? We've got that. What caused the collapse of Rome? We know. Where did we find mankind's earliest ancestor? Come find out. For the holidays, give the gift of curiosity with 25% off gift cards for your curious cohorts. It's holiday shopping season at curiositystream.com/gift.
Between aging and busy lifestyles, many women struggle with maintaining their physical and mental wellness. At Aquavita Concierge Healthcare Services for Women, we can help you revitalize your health and reclaim your life. We start from within by balancing your hormones, allowing your body to achieve and maintain desired weight goals. We also specialize in peptide therapies, regenerative medicine, sexual health, and aesthetics in our state-of-the-art facilities. Feel better, look better, live better. At Aquavita, visit aquavitality.com and begin your journey today.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Right. So, I mean,
I wanted to hit on that point, what you said about people being taken.
Go ahead.
I even, friend of mine, abducted, driving in the car, normally driving like nothing, and pretty much put out. You can see she fell asleep. She was not even there no longer. I have others that, on the day, being awake, big light comes up there, take him out, and, it doesn't really matter where you're at when this happens. It happens.
Wow. And that's crazy, right? I mean, just like you said, it's this experience happens in the skies, right? Inside your home, outside the home. Now, when it happens inside the home, have you gotten any stories as far as like from people that possibly they go through a wall, they go through a roof that they remember, anything like that, kind of like in a transparent state, you know what I mean? Just kind of going through something. Have you ever heard anybody say that to you?
Actually, I've seen some of the videos showing actually that.
Right.
How they go through the wall like nothing.
Wow. And because, it's that's what happens to a lot of folks. They experience that. They go through walls, they go through doors. They say when this beam pulls them in, right? Some kind of light. And then all of a sudden, they have this paralysis where they're stuck. They can't move. They can't move their head. All they can move is their eyes. They can breathe. Yes. And then they're getting pulled through a door, through a window, through a roof, and then they're just being pulled up. And that's most of the time, that's all they remember at that time until they get regression therapy, right? Or anything like that. Yeah. Now, how is it that when somebody goes through that they're just being followed all the time, right? I mean, what would you say on that? Why?
Well, here's the thing. People are still being abducted, even the same people, over and over.
Right.
It doesn't happen, like every day, but they're still happening. And, some of them, what happens is they start getting very sleepy, very tired. And no matter what they do, they can't come out of it. Next thing they know, hours have passed, 3 hours have passed. They're back in their home in a different spot. And when they come back, sometimes they find marks, bruises that they never had before.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Why are you going to, my thing is just like, I still try to wrap my brain around it, how they take you like that. You know what I mean? It's like they put you in this paralysis state, and why they put you in that paralysis. I think only because they know you're going to fight or you're going to freak out, right? Some way or another, if you see something like this, that it's unearthly, it's not human, right? Your mind is going to just go, wow, and what the hell? And you see it, people fighting all the time. Is that what you're thinking? Possibly that's what's happening. Why they're doing this?
Well, from the way I see it, sometimes they get taken. They don't even know they got taken.
Right.
They don't even realize it. I could say from my own example, there was a video that supposedly I recorded. I know what I recorded. It wasn't me recording it. And of course, there was one of those things out there, and they show up in the video. Same thing with people, they show the 5 pictures on their phone that they were taken of things that they shouldn't be there.
Right. And I believe that. I'm going to tell a story that I've never told before. And I was living up in New Mexico, about 5-6 years ago, maybe a little longer. And we were out camping up on one of the mountains up there. And it was a late night, beautiful skies, man. You could see everything. It's nice and clear. And this is in northern New Mexico around Pecos area. And we went to sleep late that night, probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, after all the fun ended. And when I woke up, I always had my phone. Man, I'm this kind of person. I always have my phone. I'm always taking pictures, everything, right? So when I next morning, I start looking through my pictures on my phone. I'm seeing this red light. It's a red light and some kind of orange light and a red light. And then it's like I was trying to take a picture of the moon or something like that, right? But there was this red light, right? I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I didn't know what I was seeing, right? Did I believe in UFOs then? Yes. Have I believed in UFOs? Yes. Was there possibly a visitation? I'm thinking so, right?
Yes, sure.
The only reason why, because after that, while I was working, I would work for a company there, Coca-Cola, whatever, and I was a driver, whatever, and then we would get at 4 o'clock in the morning. One morning, I started seeing these crafts, and I was spotting them over and over and over, right? I even had somebody with me in the passenger seat and saw the same thing that I did, and I asked him, I said, "Did you see that, man?" And he was like, "Yeah, I saw it." I said, "Do you know what you're seeing?" He goes, "No, I don't want to talk about it." Some people kind of go in that closed mode, right? Yeah, I know I'm seeing something, but I ain't going to go there, right? But I just kept on seeing these things. Now, did I experience something? Maybe, I don't know. But just like what you were talking about, that when these things happen to folks, they start being they're experiencers, right? You start seeing these crafts more and more. You start just things that are just happening over and over and over to you that you just don't understand. Now, I mean, these things have energy. How can you tell when this energy is around you, as far as the alien abduction?
That's a good question, actually. First of all, most of abductees feel that energy. It's like an electricity. It's right. The same thing with when you have a UFO around your area, or somebody film a UFO, and you see that grainy, that looks, even though it's a $5,000 camera, it doesn't matter. It will show that grainy. That is that energy that they produce. Same thing when the aliens come down in the dark. The same energy is inside the house. Right? It's not visible to the eye, but be detected.
Right. And that's why I love cameras too. I always tell folks, sometimes at night, use that slow shutter speed. If you have an actual camera, slow down your shutter speed for night photography. It brings in the light, and you could see more in the dark. As far as that, now, I mean, how do people deal with abductions? And to you, how do they deal with this?
It's interesting because depending on the person, I have met people that, in fact, know a lot of people that are constant worry about it, and they have to be almost superhuman to understand. I mean, they understand what's going on, but to be able to go to the next day and the next day, and when is it going to take me back again? And then we have others that kind of welcomes it. It's a different view. Some people say, "Oh, these are angels," or some people will say, "These are just good things to help you out." It depends where it's coming from. But the one that I'm aware of, they're just being tormented, almost on a daily basis, and they don't know when is the next time they're going to be taken. Right, and that's what we're talking about, the trauma, the shock, the PTSD that you get from these traumatic abductions that people get. And that's the thing, once you get that, it's some of these things put the fear in you. Why this happens to folks, I don't understand. And I've heard of some abductions that are really, really nice. They get treated really nice. You know what I mean? And then I've heard of
it's a 50-50. You know what I mean? The other half will get treated horribly. You know what I mean? To where they just extracting and doing these awful things to them, but they bring them back. You know what I mean? And then these folks are going through all this traumatic shock and PTSD.
Yeah, on a daily basis, day by day, when is it going to be? Is it tomorrow? Whatever. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, actually.
Go ahead.
Not story, but it's actually real account. As an example, when I say abductees, when they be involved, they know the UFOs out there, but at the same time, sometimes you'll see them like an orb outside the house.
Right.
But inside the house, they could feel it. And sometimes they're able to see it, but a lot of times they cannot. That's when I come in, because they're pretty clever how to hide themselves in plain sight.
Right. And
I'm able to show them what they don't see, but they actually feel it. So I say, well, let me see what you have, and I go from there. But again, they're just being tormented day by day. They got to be super brave to handle it, because, like you said, the trauma that they have, all the way from childhood to being called crazy. If they go to the doctors or psychologists or psychiatrists, they don't believe it or not. It's all in your mind type of deal. So they got to deal with that, plus the daily life. So they got the medical that they got to deal. They got to go deal with the daily life, and then they got to deal with the alien and still be able to go move forward. So that's monumental.
And and that's such a true thing, because you're like on a seesaw. You're caught up in between. Which way am I going to go? Is this going to help me, or this not, or which direction do I go? And this person, I don't care who it is, you get lost. They get lost in between, right? Because they're trying to figure out what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, and that they're not crazy, right? And then it's sometimes they need somebody to talk to other than a doctor, because as like, I'm not going to say we're not doctors in any way or for shape or form, no. but we have a lot of knowledge of what is going on with folks and what they're going through, and people that actually talk to you about these things that won't talk to anybody else, and it kind of sets us apart from the rest as far as yourself. I've had folks talk to me too, at a time or two about what was happening to them, and they were able to get on the podcast as well and talk about their experiences. Was it hard for them? Hell yes, it was. Was it difficult? Hell yes, it was. Did they think that they were going to probably get some kind of backlash from it? They probably did, but you know what? They had to tell their story. Right. And I'm glad they did. Now I'm gonna kind of go through this screen right here. We have different types of aliens, that people kind of see at times, right? So of course we have the alien with the elongated skull, right? We always see that this type of alien that's always out there in photographs and just things that people see, right? Of course, they see this one as well, kind of insectoid, kind of looks like an insect. And then they say that these things come in a dimensional form as well, right? So we see this type. And then, of course, we have the structure of the gray. So they can be from anywhere from 3 to 5 feet. Of course, webbed hands. They always talk about that. And this is the part of the most, the slits for the nose, right? And this is what people see when they experience these extraterrestrials. Now, this one was an actual photograph of a woman that has been, this is recent, 8/5/22. She got this photograph on her phone. So she is actually being visited many, many times. Okay. Now, on this one, this is what we were talking about earlier. Is it a friend or is it a foe? Do we think it's an alien or is it paranormal? Right? Where in your experiences, how do you tell if there's a difference between paranormal and an alien? As far as like, can you tell?
Well, that's another good question, actually. On the old days, the Irish, you talk about the fairies and things like that, right, that existed, and I come out to find out there's some truth to what they were seeing out there.
Right.
The thing with the aliens, they it's like when you see it. Okay, you see. Let me put it this way: you see all kinds of UFOs. You see them split. You get together. You see them change color, vanish, show up. The same thing is happening with the alien side. You see the normal alien that you see, like you just finished showing, but they have other ones. They have different shapes. Some take actually shapes of birds. It might sound crazy, but they take shape of birds and other animals. Wow. I've seen it in some of the other people's video. They have shown me. I see them show up, act like it, and then vanish. The only thing you could tell is because it's something weird the way they move. Right. When you're close in, you could tell that it's actually not real.
Right.
So,
right.
And they all, the one thing I could say, they all correspond with the same thing. They all have that energy, right. That magnetic field, all of them.
Now, people talk about Nordics, Palladians, what we see here. Have you ever talked to anybody that has experienced any kind of extraterrestrial as far as this?
No, I have not.
Yeah, and this one's a little difficult and a little hard because we've seen a few photos, very few photos of Palladians that people post out there. That's not a real photo anyway, by the way. But it's just one of those things that we're trying to, that you can't ever grasp. Now, here's another one of the sleep paralysis. This is what folks go through, and this is what they see, right? They see these entities, and they feel like they can't move in the middle of the night. Why do you think that they do this? And I know I kind of asked this before, but in this sense too, sometimes there's not just one. There could be 3 or 4 of them.
I'm not too sure if they do. The reason why they do it, I mean, maybe so you don't panic, because I mean, I know I have a couple of those before, and I know that when I'm on it, I could be screaming my brains out. I'm thinking anybody can hear, but nothing. I can't move nothing. I'm screaming inside my brain, but nothing happens. Until it passes. Wow. So why, I don't know, but you just can't do anything. It's like you're there, but you're not there.
Wow. Yeah, and it's just, it's one of those things that when you see these things up in this up in the sky, right? So we're gonna see a video of a UFO here. Now, these extraterrestrials, they can cloak themselves, right? And they can see them in different ways. So here we're going to see a craft, right, that has cloaked itself. It's in the clouds, and you can pretty much, plain as day, see what's going on here. That to me looks like a real extraterrestrial craft itself. You know what I mean? And so why do you think that these crafts do these things? You know what I mean? Why do you think they do these things? To hide.
A lot of times they actually are in plain sight, but they camouflage themselves so good that only certain people get to pick them up. I guess apparently, and sometimes they look like a regular cloud, and sometimes I guess it depends on them, because as you see, when they want to be shown, they can show themselves out. Right. But sometimes they just want to be, hidden. For what purpose? I really don't know. But they're still aspired.
Yeah, and it's always like a cloud. You know what I mean? Or a mist of some sort. We always see photos of people that when they grab a photo of an extraterrestrial, probably from a distance, you'll see like a mist sometimes around them, or even like the craft you're seeing here that will dematerialize, or materialize itself, and you'll be able to see it. Can these extraterrestrials, in a sense, walk among us every day, in that cloaked kind of stage that we don't know that they're there, in a sense that they're there? You know what I mean? They're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're here, and some of them look like regular people. I mean, despite them, I know it sounds crazy, but some look like I said, they can take any shape they want.
Right.
But some just look like normal people.
Right. Right.
So I know they're among us.
And I mean, I believe that. You know what I mean? It's just, how can we not? They would have to kind of blend in somehow, right? So why not change their forms. Dr. Greer, he's up there, and with the C5 stuff, and he always talks about these crafts that they take these shapes and different forms, and it's a biological entity that's actually alive. These crafts are alive. Some of them can change forms into a plane or make it look itself like a helicopter or whatever, but there's still an occupant that's actually driving these crafts. So in that sense, why not? If they can do that, in other words, what I'm trying to say, if they can do that with a craft, why? I wouldn't see it far-fetched that they can do this with themselves, right? So that's why I believe that 100%. I'm just trying to get people to understand and rationalize of the things that they're seeing up in the sky, and then when they go through this missing time, right? People have this missing time sometimes, like you experienced as well. It could be 10 minutes, it could be 2 hours, it could be days, that you experience missing time, and then you're trying to wrap your mind around it. Okay, what the hell happened? You know what I mean? How did this happen to me? Or was I gone? Or was I just asleep? Or did my watch break? And then you figure out, something did happen. Now, have you ever heard of people or people talk to you about strange symbols or that flash in their memory of the symbols that are on the crafts?
Actually, yes. There are quite a few. And recently I got one a couple of days ago, and they draw it vividly. I mean, they can see exactly the way it was given to them.
Right.
And I'll be seeing those symbols. I've been doing a lot of research on the symbols too, and haven't got anywhere. But yeah, they get those symbols all right.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we were able to tell what these symbols meant, in a sense. It took them a while to figure out the hieroglyphs up in Egypt, to try to figure those out. In other words, if they have these symbols from folks that have drawn out, and if they match it up with somebody else's symbols that look pretty damn close to it, you'd figure that I'm sure somebody is trying to try to decipher those symbols of what they mean in that sense.
Something? I on the same subject of the symbol, I believe that they're trying to give the people who are receiving the symbol some information.
Right.
That's what I believe.
Right.
How are they going to decode it or whatever? They don't know, but it's given to them.
Right. And it means something, right? It means something. So today, we're talking about alien abductions and what people experience and what they go through as far as the actual abduction, the episode itself, the paralysis, everything that comes along with the marks, the scoop marks, memory loss. We have a lot of things come into play here. What is your solution, Anibal, on what somebody can do as far as what is your solution on somebody that's an abductee to figure out, where do I start? In other words, where do I start from here? How do I know? What's your solution? In other words, what steps?
Pretty much what I've been doing the last couple of years now is try to get together, try to connect with them. We have like a special, I'm going to call it a special language that we understand each other of what's going on. Because if I was making up a story, they will pick you up like this. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Right.
But since we all have the same experience, I communicate with them and tell them what I know, and they understand, and I already understand what they're going through, and I try to connect with them and try to which I'm doing with the group, trying to get all of them together and help each other out in the situation, because there's so many situations going on.
Right. And that's
so many different kinds of abductions.
Right. And that's what we talked about, that it's not always the same. It's not always the same circumstance. People think like it's in the movies, oh, you're asleep in your bed, they come at night and then they take you. No, man, this happens all the time. You could be walking in broad daylight and you're gone, and you don't even realize that you were gone for 2.5 hours. Now, and it's like you were saying, there's just like nobody to talk to. And that's why you have this group to discuss and to talk about, and if somebody's having a hard time, you have this other special group to where you'll talk to them one-on-one. In other words, to try to help them through and to try to figure out which direction they need to go to next, right? It's abduction discussions and visitation discussion help, and that's what you have, and that's what you're trying to do. You have that little. It's a private group, and it's only for a few people. And you know what? And I'm glad you do have that. I'm glad you do have that because there's. You're just about as real as it gets, Anibal, as far as the getting to help people, right? Because you're helping folks and you're trying to teach them how to go this direction, man, and you'll get close to finding what you're looking for. Do you know the right answers all the time? No, you're a human being, man. We don't always know the answers, but we try to point people in the right direction, and your directions is the proper directions, I think, because you're an experiencer yourself, right? So this is why you already, and it took you years to figure this out, of thinking to yourself, man, am I going crazy? Am I seeing things? It's just one of these things, that you just didn't understand until you started figuring it out, and I'm glad you did that, and I'm glad you're doing that for folks. What else extra can you tell some people out there that are going through this?
Well, one thing I wanted to mention about the groups. The group is actually going to be managed by others abductees also. So all our admins are abductees. They've been through the whole situation.
Right.
So it's not like somebody making a group of just strangers and just try to get people in to know.
Right.
They're all experiencing the same thing. I want to get that straight out.
Okay, so they're all abductees that are in that group. Great, and that's awesome because it's like you have to know who to pick sometimes, because I'm not saying that a lot of people ain't truthful, but you have to figure out what situations they're in and how to figure out if this is happening or this is not happening. And a lot of times you could tell what direction that person's heading, or you're trying to figure out where they're at, you know what I mean? And I get it because we have these groups, and a lot of times like on Alien Strand, I get a lot of good people on there, great folks, man, and every once in a while you'll get a troll in there, and they want to just start bashing everything you're doing and bashing everything you're saying, and I'm not having it. Just like Terry Lynch, he's the king patrol officer of of all the groups, man. I love him. He not only does he kick them out of the group, but he puts their name all over the place. If you see this person, don't allow them back in your group. And you know what? And good for him. I'm glad he does that, because there's a lot of people out there that just don't understand it. And we're not out here to do it to be famous. We're not out here to make money off of this. No, 100% no. And I could tell you that from experience. That's a big no. We're not doing that for that reason. We're doing this to get the information out, to get the disclosure out, and for people to understand what we're doing, and we're trying to help. You're trying to help, more than anybody out here. You know what I mean? And Anibal, thank you for being on the show today. I'm super glad that you were on the show. You have, help folks, to know if they're experiencing these things, right? And it's just one of those things. We have to talk about these things. We have to. And I'm glad that you got on the show today. And I'm glad that people were able to listen to your voice. And I know this was kind of hard for you today to come on video, just as much as it's hard for me to, because, we just started this, right? But, we're trying to get people we want people to know about these things in a personal sense, not just what you're watching on TV, but in more of a personal sense. But thank you, Anibal, for being on the show today. I really enjoyed our conversation. And where can people find you if they need to talk to you?
On those two groups, really.
Okay, so on abductions and experiences. So if they go on Facebook, they'll find you there, abduction and experience. Right. So just kind of go there. Pretty much, that's the number one, and just go there. And if you want to, he'll talk to you in a personal sense from there on and get you in the private other group. But thank you, sir, for being on the podcast today. And I know there's a lot more information we're trying to get out. Is there anything else you wanted to say that maybe that you didn't get to say today?
Yeah, what I wanted to say, besides they going through all this hell that they're going through, so we have to say the word hell, but I have to say it that way.
Yeah, that's what it is.
still brave. They're still moving forward. They're not giving up. You know, a lot of people tend to just kind of give up and it's hopeless. I can't do nothing. I got no help. That's why we want to get this group together to help each other, because we understand what's going on. And we got to fight this out. We just can't sit up and give up and that's it. No, you got to. It's almost a life fight. It's a life fight. Don't give up. Contact other people on your same situation. Get together. Motivate each other. Stay positive. Forget the negative. It doesn't help you. Stay in the positive side.
Wonderful words of advice from Anibal Caballero. Thank you, sir, for being on the show today. I love those words, because those are words of encouragement for folks that need to be encouraged to get help and just to try to figure out what's going on in their lives. But thank you, sir, for being on the show today. Again, thank you for your service, and we'll talk to you again pretty soon, okay?
Okay, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
So there you have it. This is Mr. Anibal Caballero. He's about as true as it gets to somebody that wants to help, somebody that's in these situations, as far as abductions. Is there a lot more to talk about abductions? Yeah, there'll probably be a part 2 to this. There's still a lot more to cover, but I'm glad that I see a lot of folks. I'm sorry I'm not able to comment because I can't type that fast. I'm still a one-finger guy. But thank you guys for the comments. Thank you for having me on your screen today, because I'm usually on the radio or on an audio podcast, and those are great. Catch us on iHeart, Spreaker, Spotify. We're all over the place, and it's just one of those things that I'm glad that folks are coming aboard. Share this podcast, share this video cast, because it's on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So we're going to probably get Rumble going on pretty soon as well. Okay, so we're on, I don't know, man, I just saw it the other day. It's like 11, 12 countries already that are listening to Alien Strand, and thank you for that. Thank you for listening to the show and sharing it. If you like this, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit us a bell there on our YouTube page. Okay, same thing on Twitch. So thank you guys for listening to today's podcast. It was very important. A lot of words of encouragement from Mr. Anibal Caballero. He's an amazing human being. And I was just, it was my pleasure to have him on the show today. It was an honor, actually. He helps so many people as far as crafts in the sky as well. So if you still need to get a hold of him, you still can. If you have photographs, videos of crafts, man, he puts these things in these analyzations for you in a different spectrum, like in things that you can't see, and you'll see these crafts in the sky. He'll show them to you. He'll show you how to do it. Just like Mr. Terry Lynch and Shauna Gilmer and Jody Gordon. Man, these are my favorite people. Everybody, all you guys are my favorite people. Paul Wilburn in the UK, he helps me a lot. Thank you, Paul, for that. I really appreciate you, and be safe out there. You guys be safe. All I can say is, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening. And have yourselves a good night.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woo-hooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+. Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, oh, sorry. We were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.